Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. Now, today's first story comes from WildGas8551, and just to give you a warning before we do get into it, there is mentions of suicide as well. So if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. And the title of it is, I don't like the relationship between my husband and his work wife, and neither does her partner. English is not my first language. I just want to put it out there because I see how you people are brutal when grammar is bad. I'm a beautician, female 35, married to an engineer, male 34. He's very intelligent and I'm always proud of him. He has a colleague who is also very intelligent, female 31, obviously that he is close to. Before the events that lead me to this moment of seeking help online, I never had any reason to be uncomfortable about his relationship with her. I always felt secure in our relationship. We're both independent people who would just leave if we weren't happy together. We've been together for 5 years, married for 1.5. My husband and I were on a 3-day trip with my husband's colleagues, a tradition at his work every autumn. We came home yesterday morning and had a bad taste in my mouth after this trip. It felt like me and the colleague's partner, male 35-ish, were the third and fourth wheel to my husband and his colleague during the entire trip. During dinner, the second night, I was sitting silently playing with my food after almost 2 days of being ignored. The partner was also silent at first, but we started talking a bit, asking each other generic questions. The colleague, who was in a very loud argument with my husband, more of a back and forth teasing, suddenly turned around and asked what we two, partner and me, were up to talking quietly. Her partner said that we were just getting to know each other since they, husband and colleague, were too busy talking about things we knew nothing about. The colleague laughed and said, "What could we discuss with you? Makeup and Kim Kardashian?" And she nodded towards me. We have more intelligent things to discuss. I was dumbfounded. I guess because I'm a beautician, I can only discuss Kim Kardashian. I mean, any outsider to any profession would be dumb listening into two people discussing work-related subjects. They could have been as ignorant as if I was talking to my coworkers about our job. My husband just laughed and the partner said, "That is rude." I said nothing because I had distaste for the whole situation. On the last day of the trip, I spent most of my time with the partner. I ignored the other two. Yesterday evening, the partner DM'd me and wanted to talk about our SOs. He said that he has been feeling uncomfortable about his girlfriend's relationship with my husband and that he went through her messages. He sent me screens where my husband and his colleague are basically calling me stupid and shallow and laugh about it, while mostly the colleague saying mean things and my husband laughing and adding in. Sometimes he would say something like, "No, I love her," about me, and she would answer, "You only like banging hot dumb chicks," and they laugh. When the texts aren't about my stupidity, they're about work, and in one of them my husband wrote, "I love your brain," to her. I started crying when I saw the screenshots. Never have I felt so self-conscious about my brains or profession. I love my job and I thought my husband loved it too, or at least didn't have this disdain for it. I've been my own boss for over 10 years and I make closer to 6 figures. I never thought myself as a dumb person. I like to think that I'm fairly well informed and I have a passion for history, languages, cultures, etc. But yes, I'm not an engineer working on some design for artificial hearts. Still, the text complimenting the colleague hurt me more than the ones making fun of me. I don't know why. I think my husband and his colleague are out of line at best and, well, probably screwing. I still don't know what to do. The last thing I want to be is the insecure wife. If he isn't happy with me, why is he here? P.S. I wrote this post last night and fell asleep afterwards. This morning I just went to work and oh my god guys, thank you so much for the support and beautiful words. I will try to read all your comments and messages. I just wanted to make this edit to explain why I haven't answered any of you. I'm sorry and thank you. I will talk to my husband tonight or maybe tomorrow. I will make an update about my situation. And we do have 2 further updates. And we're going to start off with Impress No, who says, "I think his work wife is very jealous of you. She's constantly putting you down to him to make herself look and feel better. She sounds very insecure. She was very quick to notice that her husband was talking to you, so she belittled you to her husband. It's sad that her husband defended you while yours did not. Your husband allowing this and chiming in is disrespectful and disgusting. Feisty Beach says, you run a small business that makes close to 6 figures. The only person in this scenario that is dumb is your husband. Hope you discover your value, my friend. Tillicum says, the nicest thing I can say about those two is that it sounds like she's been working on him for a long time, trying to turn him against you. Sounds like it kind of worked. I would not want to be with someone who thought and talked about me like that, and the fact that your husband didn't say anything when she made the Kim Kardashian comment. I would have gotten up and walked out. Her spouse spoke up in your defense. Your husband didn't. Disgusting. Flux says, to be honest, it doesn't matter if he's cheating. The man has obviously zero respect for you, and you should leave. You can 100% do better. The only reason to wait and try to prove the cheating is if you're somewhere where this will help you financially in the divorce. Otherwise, just go. And one more from Chloe, who says, first off, let me tell you right now that anyone who calls you names and belittles you to anyone is not worth your time. I have no knowledge whatsoever in fashion. I'm extremely unfashionable, and those that know about color coordination and creating something out of nothing is absolutely amazing to me. A genius in a way that I will never be. Even if he doesn't truly believe the words that he's saying, he's allowing someone to talk badly about you and even encouraging it. The husband of yours should definitely become ex-husband. As for your question of why he won't just leave, sometimes people want to have their cake and eat it too. It's a common expression for people who are greedy and like to overindulge. He likes to have your attention. He wants someone to come home at the end of the day that'll give him attention and validate his feelings and show him love. At the same time, he decided your attention wasn't enough because of his greed, and he found someone at his workplace to give him that. You are someone who deserves so much better, and I'm sorry you're experiencing this. Know that no one this selfish is worth your time. Good luck. Yeah, and I got to say, I was blown away when they were sitting down and having their food, and she made that dig about can only discuss things about Kim Kardashian because, you know, she's a beauty professional. And not only did she have the audacity to do that, your husband didn't say anything either and laughed along with it. Holy shit. But yeah, let's check out one of OP's first updates to see what happens next. So OP updates the post which says, sorry I didn't come back earlier to make an update. I was mentally exhausted and of course busy discussing Kim K. Anyway, I want to apologize for not answering your messages because I got over 200 asking for updates. I really hope you can find this. I've talked to my husband. I just told him that I've talked to work wife's BF and showed him the messages I was sent. My husband asked me why her BF was spying on his girlfriend, and I told him that it was because he didn't like the way things went down on the trip. I told him how I too was very uncomfortable. He was very confused and told me that work wife obviously was jealous and I shouldn't care about her. I told him that she didn't bother me as much as the fact that he was fine. No, amused by her attempts to try to bring me down the entire time. So much in fact that her boyfriend was so uncomfortable that he went through her phone. I also asked him why he was letting her trash talking me in their texts. Again, he insisted that he just felt she was petty and jealous and didn't want to stoop to her level. He said that I did the same when I ignored her rudeness and he thought that was the classy thing to do. I asked him why she was doing this. Was there anything between them and to please tell me now before it got more complicated. He said of course not, and if there was something from her end then that wasn't his problem because he loved me and so on and so forth. I asked him about him loving her brain and he said it was strictly about something work related and offered to show me the conversation. Next day, I was still brooding, so he came to me, kissed me and apologized and told me that I was right and that he was being stupid but that he never thought about it as disrespect but some female jealousy that he thought was pitiful and beneath him. He promised to do better. I told him that if somebody was trashing you like this in front of me, no matter how petty their reasons were or how pathetic I thought they were, I would have hated them and never wanted them in my life. Unfortunately, I started crying then and he told me he was so sorry. That was on Sunday. Yesterday, the boyfriend called me again and we talked. We had decided to talk after confronting our SOs. The conversation was worse and work wife admitted to her boyfriend that she had feelings for my husband and she suspected that my husband had feelings for her too. They have kissed at the summer work party. I showed my husband the screenshot when he got home. He started to freak out telling me that yes, she did kiss him and he rebuffed her and told her that he wasn't interested. That was when she got nastier towards me. So you knew she had a thing for you, and he said yes. I asked him to show me his phone and he had deleted his conversations with her. He said it was because he was embarrassed. He didn't tell me when the kiss happened, and now he was afraid I would think it was more than it was. I asked him to move out, and he's currently at his mother's. He keeps saying that there's nothing between them, that he loves me and would never cheat on me, that he will make her come clean to me, that he will quit his job and never see her again. I'm just so brokenhearted right now, and all I want to do is cry. Thank you for listening. I needed this. Edit. Maybe I should have mentioned that he also told me he could prove that it was she who came onto him because it happened in the office cafeteria, and there are surveillance cameras, and that he could request the clip for that day. I don't know why I didn't include it. Maybe because who kissed who doesn't really change how I feel about this whole ordeal. Then OP comes in with one more update which says, "Hi, I don't feel comfortable making a new update on the True sub because honestly I'm embarrassed that I'm taking so much of your attention. Writing, however, has helped me a lot. Like it's therapy. My husband showed up at my work today. He said that he never felt so scared in his life like when he realized that he was losing me. He's contacted the boyfriend, apologized to him, and asked him to forward all the texts between him and work wife. He printed them and gave me everything. Over a year's worth of texting. He told me when work wife confessed to her boyfriend, she sent the text about admitting the kiss to her boyfriend. The text I got a screenshot of. My husband panicked and deleted the whole conversation. But now he got everything from the boyfriend and I could read it. He also brought a picture with him of when he was young, 12 to 13ish with a girl. He said he searched this picture, now he's living with his mum. He told me that it was his favorite cousin and that she committed suicide when they were 16. She was bullied severely. I never heard my husband talk about this cousin, but never that they were close or that her death devastated him. He said that he still wasn't ready to discuss her, but that now he needed to. He admitted that when work wife started working for them August 2021, he immediately bonded with her because she reminded him of his cousin. Both goofy, funny, and extremely intelligent. They even looked alike a little. Kind of true. The bond got stronger when the work wife told him about her tough childhood and how she was bullied throughout school, how she suffered and contemplated suicide. My husband said that he felt like he got his cousin back. Work wife knew that my husband was married. Newlywed actually, and it didn't seem to be a problem for her in the beginning. He admitted that he sensed that she was falling for him very soon, but that he never really confronted her about it because he didn't want to hurt her feelings. When she saw me in the picture, she got very angry with him and said that she was very disappointed in him. I looked the type that would bully people like her and my husband in high school. She was disappointed and asked him what he saw in me. He told her that he loved me, but she was sour afterwards, accusing him of being shallow. He asked her to give me a chance at the Christmas party. She didn't change her opinion, however. He wasn't bothered that she disliked me because he thought that she was jealous. He knew that she was decided on not giving me a chance, and that was fine with him. He thought that this would be one of those things they will have to disagree on. He is still adamant that he never kissed her back, and he is adamant about getting the recording of that party. He said he pushed her, and after the party, he had a fight with her about boundaries and confronted her about her feelings. He told her that they could no longer be friends now that she had crossed the line. We went on a 5-week vacation the day after the party, and he said that if I read texts from that time, I would find that she apologized several times asking for forgiveness, begging him to not ditch her as a friend. After summer, their relationship was strained, but they eventually became closer again. He said he doesn't know why he felt like she needed him in her life, like she needed his protection. He always thought about being put in harm's way, and he couldn't stand the thought. He swore it was never romantic or sexual. He admitted that he loved her like a friend, or like if his cousin was still around. He told me that he has handed in his resignation and he will be seeking new jobs. He realized that he has to let his work wife go. He admitted that he even now is worried about her. She's losing both her boyfriend and him, but that he needs to remind himself that she is a grown-up woman, not a 16-year-old cousin. She'll be fine. And about my fears that he loves me for how I look. He said that he is sorry if he ever made me feel that way, and that is far from the truth. When he thinks about us, he sees us growing old together, and that the prospect fills his heart with more love and joy. And OP mentions about them seeing the recording, and they said, I saw the recording too. He does back off and looked angry and left, and she ran after him. He said he wanted to apologize. And there was a lot of comments below this one talking about trickle truthing, but what do you guys make of this situation? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. And our next story comes from FlakySync3268, who says, am I the arsehole for telling my husband's aunt I am not responsible for raising his half-siblings? My husband was told 3 months ago that his father, who he was estranged from, and his father's wife had passed away in an accident, and he had been listed as the person to become guardian to their 2 young children. My husband had no idea his father had done this. He never actually met those children. He was estranged from his father by the time the older of the 2 was born, though he did know the older child existed. My husband told the person who called that he was not willing to become their guardian. The person understood, and what ended up happening is my husband's aunt took the kids. This is his father's sister. She wants my husband to take them still. She's reached out countless times to convince him to meet the kids and form a relationship and see if he could build up to wanting them. He has no interest in this. After my husband blocked her and stopped responding completely, she decided to show up at the house while I was working. She told me we needed to talk and proceeded to tell me I could decide we had taken them and I could be the person to make the first step. She told me they were just as much as my responsibility as my in-laws as they are my husband's, and that they are children who are orphaned and don't need the family history being the reason they never know their brother. The family history is my husband's mother died when he was 17. His father was having an affair while she was sick. The affair partner became his wife. My husband never forgave him and left before he turned 18 and before their oldest child could be born. I told the aunt I had no responsibility to raise the kids, that I was not going to raise them if my husband wasn't interested. I told her if she doesn't want them, she should say so, but she should not try to force them into a home where they are unwanted and unloved. I told her it's tragic for the kids, but they are not my children. She called me heartless and told me that as a woman, I should be ashamed to be married to someone who could discard flesh and blood children over the actions of adults. I made her leave. I had to block her on my work phone because she attempted to reach me there to tell me once again that I am this bad person. Am I the arsehole? And we start off with Crystal Queen, who says not the arsehole. Their dad was out of his mind, putting your husband down as the guardian in case anything happens. If you are not talking and haven't in years, then it follows that they're not going to want to take in kids that they've never met. OP replies saying, I agree. My husband was so angry when he heard what his father had done. The fact that they hadn't spoken in several years, he had never met the kids, but he was willing to dump that responsibility on him. Not to mention he was sending his young kids to someone they had never met, who had anger towards him and his wife. It's a very strange thing to do, especially when there are other family members around. Millie Hilly says not the arsehole. It's heartbreaking for the kids, and yes, they're innocent in all of this, but no one should be forced to take in kids that are not their responsibility. Smuff says this aunt is more than a bit pushy. Someone needs to let her know that she's not in charge. Honestly, I would have her served with a restraining order. Your father-in-law was a huge arsehole here, and his sister isn't much better. It sucks that the kids are being turned into pawns in this whole scenario, as they haven't done anything wrong. Seeking a relationship with your husband would have been one thing, and he would still be perfectly within the lines of decency to not even want that, but to try and force orphan children into a home of a total stranger that doesn't want them is garbage-tied behavior. Not the arsehole. Nessie says not the arsehole. The dad was an arsehole for doing this and not even having a discussion, via lawyers, with your son. What an awful man. The aunt is no better, and you should never be forced into caring for children, as it doesn't work. OP, you are not the arsehole, because I think if your husband would want them, you would support them. It is also his right to choose to not want these children. Yes, I feel for them. They are innocent in all of this, but going to a home to a person who doesn't want them is not good for anyone. Wombat Seal says not the arsehole. Bringing children into a home where they are not wanted and loved is not doing them any favors. He didn't even know he was set to care for these children. He did not consent to it, so he is not responsible. It is not your responsibility or choice either. This is his trauma. As his wife and partner, you should support his decision, as you are. And one more from Rohini Rambles, who says Auntie sure is trying to dump the kids that she thinks are so precious and family takes care of family crap. Why isn't she stepping up as a woman? Your husband's father was the true picture of selfish and disgusting person. Cheats on the mum while she's sick, then expects the son to take his kids who he doesn't know. Sounds like the stunt an abusive power-tripping parent pulls when they think that no one will tell them no. The kids are innocent, of course, and they have their aunt. Not the arsehole. Get a restraining order against her if she keeps on harassing you. Now, What would you say to this situation? Obviously, you've got to feel sorry for the kids who are just the innocent party in this. So like the comments say, I feel incredibly bad for them, but I also agree with the comments and saying, you know, trying to force children into a home where they are not wanted isn't going to be doing anyone any favors in the end. But what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, support and time always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for getting involved, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay.